Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a technology that's trying to completely flip the script on artificial intelligence. It's called BitTensor, and its mission is, well, it's pretty simple but incredibly ambitious: to pry AI out of the hands of a few tech giants and give it back to all of us. And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. It really gets to the core of the problem BitTensor is built to solve. So to see why this is such a big deal, we've got to understand just how concentrated power in the AI world has become. Right. So building top-tier AI these days, it isn't just difficult, it is mind-bogglingly expensive. And what that means is that only a handful of massive, centralized companies can even afford to get in the game, It pretty much leaves everyone else sitting on the sidelines. I mean, a perfect example of this is Elon Musk's Grok AI. It's what they call a vertically integrated system. That just means one company controls the whole shebang, from the data it's trained on to the computer chips that run it, all the way to the final AI model. And their stated goal? To create a maximally truth-seeking AI with, PhD-level intelligence in every single subject. But here's the catch. Making that happen costs a fortune. We're talking about a data center with around 200,000 of these specialized computer chips, GPUs, and the price tag could be somewhere around $8 billion. That's a check that no startup, no university, and definitely no single person can write. And this brings up a really important question. When one company or one person builds a so-called truth-seeking AI, whose truth is it actually seeking? It's inevitably going to reflect the values and the biases of its creators. It's not some objective, universal truth. It's one specific version of it, controlled by a very small group of people. So this slide really lays out the two different roads we can go down with AI. The centralized path is crazy expensive, and you have to get permission to play in their sandbox. But the decentralized path, it's the complete opposite. It's low cost, it's totally permissionless, anyone can join, and you actually get to own and control what you build. So what's the alternative to these walled gardens? Well, this is exactly where BitTensor enters the picture. Okay, so instead of thinking of BitTensor as just another AI model, I want you to picture it more like a massive open-air market for all the raw ingredients you need to build AI. It's this global network where anyone, and I mean anyone, can offer up things like computing power or data, and anyone else can come and use those resources to create their own AI. And get this, while a centralized AI data center costs billions, the BitTensor network costs $0 to build. It just grows on its own because it actually pays people to contribute useful things, like good data or powerful AI models or spare computing power. It's not about wasting electricity, it's what they call proof of useful work. So you might be wondering, how on earth does a giant, decentralized marketplace like this stay organized? Well, the whole system is built around this really clever idea that works kind of like a collection of specialized little companies. See, the network is broken down into these things called subnets. Each subnet is basically its own little mini marketplace that's laser-focused on providing one specific AI resource. You can honestly just think of each one as a specialized, decentralized AI company that's operating inside the bigger BitTensor world. So for example, there's a subnet called Shets that lets you use powerful AI models for a tiny, tiny fraction of what you'd pay OpenAI. Then you've got another one, Dataverse, that literally pays people to provide fresh data from social media sites. And of course, there are compute subnets that are basically just marketplaces for renting computer power whenever you need it. And this thing is already operating at a massive scale. Now, a token is just a tiny piece of AI output, like a few words of text. The top subnet Shoots has already processed almost 10 trillion of them. A traditional startup doing that kind of volume would almost certainly be a billion-dollar company. So look, this isn't just about some new tech. This is a fundamentally new way of looking at the economics of how we innovate. Some people are even calling it a more efficient, more open form of capitalism itself. And here's the absolute key to the whole thing. BitTensor takes resources that are normally really rare and expensive, like access to supercomputers or massive, clean data sets, and it turns them into commodities that are abundant and available to everyone. It's a monopoly buster. And that changes everything for a creator. It means you can build your own AI without asking for permission from big tech. You get to control the data, you get to own the model's weights and code, which is basically its digital brain, and most importantly, you decide what its values are, free from the worldview of some giant corporation. With this much game-changing potential, it's fair to ask, what's next? What are the hurdles? And what's the ultimate vision here for a truly decentralized AI network? People who are building in this space say we are in the very early days. Using the network right now can be a little clunky. You kind of have to know what you're doing. It feels a lot like the internet back in the early 90s, before web browsers made everything easy. The really big killer apps haven't even been built yet. But the potential scale here is just staggering. Think about it. Bitcoin is trying to decentralize money, which is a market worth maybe $150 trillion. BitTensor is trying to build the foundation for a whole new decentralized economy of digital services. That means its target is the value of global capitalism itself, a market so big we have to measure it in quadrillions. So if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this simple idea. BitTensor wants to do for intelligence what Bitcoin did for money. It wants to create a single global decentralized network that is open for everyone to use and build on. And that really leaves us with one final massive question to chew on. We are only just beginning to understand what happens when you decentralize money. So what in the world is going to happen to our society, our economy, and our future when we manage to decentralize intelligence itself?